Hey, what's up guys? Chandler here. This is another Patreon early access video. So if you want to see early videos like this, or you want to support the channel going forward, feel free to head over to patreon.com/Chandler Burton Entertainment to join the $1 tier. You're going to get access to block videos, early access videos like this. You're also going to get shout outs and videos on a whole bunch of other perks. So if you want to support the channel going forward, there's a link down below in the description and the pinned comment. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Carne asada. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. And a happy new year. Oh, there wasn't much left. That's a shame. Dang it. Let's do this. Oh, that's good. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to every single one of you guys here. Welcome to the Chandler Burton Entertainment end of the year video and my top 10 albums of 2022. Again, just like with everybody, I just can't believe how fast this year has gone, man. So many things have happened in my life that have been for the better, and I really hope that 2022 was a good year for you as well. If it was a little bit rough, there's always 2023 to look forward to here. Again, I always believe in like having second chances for yourself, and I really hope you guys find that joy and happiness that you absolutely deserve. I'm super excited to do this video, man. So again, we are going to be doing my top 10 albums of 2022, but I also want to include like all the stats and everything that I've kind of went through as a YouTuber here in the year of 2022. I personally felt like I've seen a lot of success with my YouTube channel, and I sincerely am so thankful for every single one of you guys that have stuck around, that have watched videos, that have subscribed, that have hit the like button, joined the Patreon, anything like that at all. Support Chandler Burton Entertainment means the absolute world. Those little things make a huge difference in my life. And again, without you guys, I really couldn't run this channel without your ongoing support. I love reading comments from you guys, hearing how sometimes a story that I tell will influence you for the better, or you found a new song because of me, or you like the podcast that I did. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, guys, and I absolutely am so thankful for every single one of you guys here. But so before we get started with the top 10 albums of 2022, I want to share my personal stats for the year 2022 to show how much I have grown this past year. So my total subscriber count for the year of 2022, I started back in April of 2021. My grand total is 3,940 subscribers at the time of this recording here. Again, I never thought I would get like 100 subscribers. I've never had a YouTube channel where it's hit more than like maybe 25 subscribers. I have like 6 other channels that just did not go anywhere. And seeing a number like this, while it may be small to some people, to me, I am beyond grateful for everybody who's taken the time to hit the subscribe button. Again, liking the video, commenting, like those types of things mean the absolute world to me here. So again, to me, this is an absolute success. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for this. So my total number of patrons as of this recording here is 36, and this number does go up and down. Sometimes a little bit higher, sometimes get a little bit lower. I know with the holiday season, it is hard to, kind of afford things. I know that could definitely be a hard thing, but I do want to say for those who have joined my Patreon that are still on it now, those that have joined but not on it anymore, you guys have no idea how grateful I am for you even just considering or even looking at the tiers on Patreon. I know money can be tight for a lot of people, and I completely understand that. And again, with your guys' help, I've been able to help like pay off my credit card, you know, pay stuff towards my car, help buy Christmas gifts for my family. And so legitimately, like, it means the absolute world that people are able to support me, especially around the holiday season. It really does mean the world to me here. And again, it sometimes even gets me a little emotional that people even care enough to join the Patreon to watch me react to a full album or get an early access podcast or any of those types of things. And so truly, from the bottom of my heart, those who are on it right now, those who have been on it but are no longer on it anymore, or even all those who just even look at the tiers on my Patreon just to consider, you have no idea how much that means to me here. And again, from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you all so much for this. It really does help me, and God bless every single one of you. At the time of this recording, I have officially uploaded 985 videos to Chandler Burton Entertainment. That is a lot of videos. Not all of them are reactions here. I used to do other types of content as well. I used to do like a lot of movie reactions and a lot of like movie stuff. But again, mostly it's reactions, podcasts, thoughts on walks, which again, I do want to continue to do those. Again, I just need better equipment to do that. So I do want to bring back thoughts on walks for those who have been asking for. I do want to bring that back. But again, I love creating. It helps my mental health, and I know that it helps a lot of people out there who have discovered a new song, or if I share a story and they message me on Instagram or Twitter saying like that really helped me get through a really tough time. I love creating. It's definitely one of my, if not my favorite hobby that I have. It's just a wonderful, wonderful tool in my toolkit of how to help my mental health. And so again, it's crazy to think that in 15 videos I'll be at 1,000 uploads. And again, you guys are just amazing for watching. Whether a video gets over 1,000 views, 50 views, 25 views, it doesn't matter to me here. I just love putting content out there for people to enjoy, because again, the reason why I call Chandler Burton Entertainment is because entertainment media has helped me with my mental health. Like when I watch a movie or I play a video game, like those things help me distract from the world that are really hard for me here. And so I love providing entertainment for you all. So again, thank you all for watching the videos. It really does mean a lot. I also just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Chandler Burton podcast as well. I started doing this podcast during COVID when it was really bad, back in like March of 2020, around that time. And again, I played through every video game that I had because I didn't really have any money because I didn't have a job at the time. I literally watched so many movies, so many TV shows that I was just getting bored. And so I was like, I need something to do to kind of kill the time. And so what I found out that I could do podcasts just from my phone, just literally from my iPhone. And I decided to do that. And I would just look up video game news or movie news and I would just talk about that. And I absolutely loved doing that. But then again, this also progressed into something more than I ever thought I could imagine. I've been interviewing people like in bands. Like again, I got the opportunity to talk to people like, you know, I talked to Hollowfront, Palisades. I also have a couple other podcasts that are coming up here as well, and a lot of bands that I really do look up to, which I think is really cool. I've also gotten to know a lot of YouTubers. I got to know, you know, Sunbro Nation. I got to know Richard Jamvrin. I got to know Hardcore. I got to know Metal Bird, which you see on the screen. The Metal Bird podcast that we did is 514% higher than any other podcast that I've done. I never thought people would even care about something that I did just for fun to kill time during COVID. But now it's like I enjoy just as much as the reactions. Like I love doing podcasts and I love doing reactions. And so the friends that I've made and the success that I've seen from the podcast as well is just absolutely mind-blowing. Again, I didn't think people would actually even really care about me doing any of this stuff here. And again, I get just as excited to do podcasts as I do reactions. So again, I just wanted to share that number with you guys. Absolutely, I'm so grateful for every single one of you guys for supporting me on anything on Chandler Burton Entertainment. It just really does mean the world to me. Alright, so what you can see on screen here is every single album that I reacted to in 2022. I do album reactions as well on my Patreon, so the older ones that are like not from 2022, I didn't put on here. So there are more than like probably 90 plus reactions that I did, but for the year 2022, when the albums that came out this year, there are 79 albums on here, which is absolutely insane. So we have stuff like Avria Avalanche, which I totally forgot that I did, Enterprise Earth, Shadow of a Tent, Fit for an Autopsy, Under Oath, Worm Shepherd, Envision, Bad Omens, Bloody Wood. Like, there's so many on here that I'm looking back on like, dang, there were a lot of albums that I did that I kind of forgot about. Like, again, Machine Gun Kelly, Mainstream Sellout, probably the worst album of 2022, I would have to say that. Again, Paleface, Fear and Dagger, I actually was going through, like, dang, I forgot that I did some of these. Again, there's so many on here, like Savior, Shine and Fade, Wind Waker, Silverstein, that I didn't really listen to much, but I love their new album. I thought it was sick. There's so many on here, guys. Look how many that we did a ton of albums this year, man. Like, seriously, it's kind of like jumping into like a time capsule and just going through like, oh yeah, I remember I reacted to all that. And so many good albums on here, man. I mean, there were so many that were recommended to me by people, stuff that I've gotten from like Sharp Tone Records, which has been absolutely awesome. You know, some disappointments on here as well. I won't lie to you guys here. Again, Novelist, Deja Vu, big disappointment for me here, but it's still an album that I'm glad I checked out. Like, I love checking out albums whether I love it or hate it on here. So again, so many albums that are just on here, man. I'm just like, dang, there are a ton that we did. We're still that's the very bottom, okay. But yeah, I mean, 79 plus albums of 2022, man. That's just absolutely crazy here, and I'm really excited to now finally talk about my top 10 albums of 2022. So before we get started with my top 10 albums of 2022, I just want to say that there are a ton of albums on here that definitely did not make the cut, because I said a lot in my video saying, oh yeah, this album's going to make my top 10 albums of 2022, yada, yada, yada. Then I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did over 79 albums. There's no way that I could I just can't add every single album onto this list. And so I legitimately went back and I listened through a lot of the albums, like knowing the ones that I was like, okay, I really want to put this on my list. I went back and listened to them over and over, like at work, because I work at a kitchen. And so I literally put a speaker on and just listened to music over and over, trying to figure out, okay, what is going to be on here that impacted me the most. And that's kind of how I look at music. I look at music how it impacts me as a person when it comes to mental health. You know, a lot of people look at music, some people look at the technical side of music saying like, oh, that guitar riff is sick, it's unlike anything I've ever heard before. Or some people pick, you know, this is the heaviest album that I've ever heard, so it's going to make on the list. I do things a little bit differently for myself personally. I look at the albums that truly impacted me emotionally and that just made me have a good time. Like, if I had a good time and it impacted me emotionally and make me want to be a better person, those albums are the ones that made my top 10 on the list. And so I'm super excited to talk about it here. But before that, there are a ton of honorable mentions that I want to give to you guys here. Again, there's like 13 of them on here, and I was like, I can't just do a top 10 like honorable mentions. I'm going to put all the ones that really stuck out to me here that I really wanted to make the list, but again, didn't impact me quite emotionally here. But again, it had that great time element, and so I was like, I have to include these in the video. So I'm going to roll the clip of my honorable mentions here, and then we will get started with my top 10 albums of 2022. I hope you guys enjoy.
Let's go!
Oh yeah! Back to that main riff. Incredible. Incredible. Yeah! Oh, my boy Orion's gonna love that, dude. Oh my god! I'm okay with this song. For some reason, this one's grabbing my... I usually don't like long songs, but this is grabbing my attention. Woo! We get up! Love that. Oh, I love that. That's cool. in a ditch! Oh, I love that. That's not the Kublai Khan, dude. Oh. What is going on?
Let you pick out and put it in my locket, so I could kiss you whenever I want it.
Ooh, it's catchy, I'll say that, brother. Yeah, there we go. So my number 10 album is an album that I was so pleasantly surprised with. This was an album that not only impacted me emotionally, made me cry on camera, but it really made me excited to love this band again. This is a band that I listened to a ton in high school, and I thought for sure they were a band I would never fall out of here. But after their album back in 2011, anything after that, I kind of just was like, I don't really care about these guys anymore. But they started putting out more material these past couple of years, and it's been some of their best work to date. And I think this album right here is their best material to date. And my number 10 spot goes to The Devil Wears Prada, Color, DK. I really like this chorus, super cool. Oh, that riff. Oh. Oh, yeah. Honestly, as I mentioned before, I really picked albums that I really felt helped me with my mental health and made me actually want to get up and go try something new. Because I try to take music and I try to apply it to my own personal life, and I really feel like this album did that for me here. There are some bangers on here. There's some songs that honestly, if I listened to, I would probably cry. Like their song Trapped on here, or Broken, absolutely just hits me so emotionally that I can just relate to it in my own personal life. And this is definitely the best material they've made with the new lineup of people in this band. This album is just fantastic through and through. Again, like whether you don't really struggle with mental health or you're just looking for some good metalcore music with good screaming and good singing, this album is it, dude. This was honestly a big surprise. I didn't know if I would love it as much as I did, but I'm so happy that I did, because this album truly changed my life and made me just want to do better things with my life going forward. So my number 9 pick is an album that I actually was really, again, shocked that it made it on here, but not entirely, because the singles they've been putting out from this album were absolutely fantastic. The first song I ever heard from this band was actually on this album that made my number 9 pick here. I didn't realize that they were this young of a band. I thought they'd been around for a long time, but this is only their 3rd album. And again, I actually discovered them doing reaction videos of people recommending this band to me here, saying, you got to check these guys out. I think they're definitely going to be up your alley. And I remember jamming the first song, and I was like, dude, this is super sick. And all the singles they've been putting out, I absolutely loved. And when the entire album dropped, I love this album. They're actually my number 1 listened to artist on my Apple Music here, and that is going to go to Bad Omens and their album, The Death of Peace of Mind. Oh, I love this. I love this. Like, the singing makes you want to cry a little bit, dude. Talking to a few people in the reaction scenes and my friends just kind of outside of YouTube, a lot of people weren't too hype on this album. They felt like they released the best songs as the singles, which again, I feel like you should release some of the best songs to really build hype for the album. This album had a lot of, like, I guess R&B type pop influences on some of the songs, and I think a lot of people didn't really like that. For me though, like, a lot of people don't know this, but I love like R&B type music, something like, you know, The Weeknd, or I've listened to a lot of Khalid as of lately. Like, I don't know, like Khalid is just fantastic. But there's some songs on this album, again, like Bad Decisions, Who Are You, Somebody Else, that definitely feel like it could fit on the pop radio or a little bit R&B sounding. And I love that type of music. And I thought it was really cool that on their other material, a lot of it did sound like kind of a Bring Me Horizon 2.0. This album, I really feel like they kind of try to get away from that here. There's a few songs that sound similar to like Bring Me Horizon a little bit here, but I really feel like they found their sound on this album, and I legitimately love every single song on this album. Anytime I play it, I never skip a song. I listen to this at work all the time, and for me, I think it's definitely their best record. Some people may disagree with that here, but it just gets me more and more excited as a brand new Bad Omens fan to dive into some more material once they put it out here. I just can't wait for it. My number 8 spot goes to a band that I really feel deserves all the success that they have going for them here. I absolutely love these guys. I found these guys on Dreambound. I remember when COVID was out. Again, I talked about in the beginning how I started a podcast, but I was also trying to find a lot more new music to listen to, and Dreambound was one of my favorite places to find new music, and I discovered these guys. I discovered they had a couple of EPs out, and they put out their full length just like by themselves. I was like, that's absolutely incredible. Then they got signed to UMFD, and I've been doing all the reactions from their singles off this new album. I was able to do a podcast with the main vocalist of this band, and I gotta say, their second EP, not only did it not disappoint, I think it's their magnum opus, better than any of the other material they put out to this day, and my number 8 spot goes to Holofront and their album, The Price of Dreaming. Let's go! Oh yeah! Oh! Now that's a chorus. That's an inspiring chorus, dude. Come on, hit me that riff. Being able to sit down and talk with Tyler, the vocalist of this band, was absolutely just a wonderful experience. I got to learn more about the album, him as a person. I got to see them live with August from Dread, Void of Vision, and We Came as Romans, which they absolutely did a wonderful job live. Just a really, really cool show. And this album proves to me here that metalcore is just, it's not dead. If anything, I think it's better than it ever has been. And I think this album's so good. Dakota's voice on this album fits perfectly here. The production, I felt like was a step up from their other material. I did mention in the past that I feel like some of their other material felt kind of muffled together, but this one on this new production gave this album just so much more room to breathe. You could just hear it's just a massive metalcore album, and I loved every single second of it here. And again, I'm so happy for these guys' success. They're a band that proves that if you keep working at what you love and follow your dream, that you will find success from it here. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love this album so much, is that sometimes the price of dreaming is that we have to make sacrifices to make our dreams come true. But again, we have this one life to live, and this album showed me that, you know what? Like, we can do it. If we put our mind forward and do what we want to do, we can accomplish those dreams. So my 7th album on my top 10 albums of 2022, again, was another band that I discovered through reaction videos. Like, I saw one of my friends do a reaction to it, and I did hear the beginning of it. I was like, you know what, this sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna check it out for myself, and I'm so glad that I did, because this album is really, honestly, incredible. And I've got to know all these guys in the band. Like, they are so nice to me, and they're just really kind human beings. This is one of the best, like, I guess, modern day rock albums I've heard in a while. It definitely still has some metal elements here, but I would say this is more of like a modern active rock album. And my number 7 pick is going to Palisades and their album Reaching Hypercritical. So for those who don't know, Brandon, the singer of this band, is no longer in the band. I'm not entirely sure what happened here. Brandon and I have become really good friends. I text them often, but I haven't heard from him here in a while, but I do follow him on, he's friends with me on Facebook and on Instagram, and so I kind of see what he's been up to. It looks like he's doing better for himself here. I'm sure the band's going to release something officially talking about the situation, so we'll just definitely have to keep an eye out for that. But again, separating the artist from the art here. This album is incredible. This album, I got to talk to Brandon on, again, the Chandler Burton podcast, and we talked about this album, how this is an album, him going back to therapy to try to be a better person, try to like get rid of some of the pains that he's been dealing with. And I think that's so cool that people are willing to share that story. And I applaud anybody who goes to therapy to try to make a better life for themselves. That is something that I'm going to be studying in school. And so I'm really excited to become like a mental health type therapist and try to help other people, you know, with things that they struggle with here. And I think this album actually really motivated me and actually gave me a sign saying like, this is a good career path for you. Because again, I love creating and I love helping people. But again, I do want to have a family one day. So I feel like, you know, going to a job to help people, then coming home to my family, I think will be a really good thing for me. And so this album just kind of like opened my eyes going like, you know what, I think this is a good career path for me here. And again, I'm just excited to see what the future holds with that. But this album sincerely is absolutely incredible all the way through. The singing's phenomenal, great production. It's perfect. I think this is a great gateway album for those trying to get into heavier music, and I think this album is perfect for that. So number 6 is an album that it's considered an album, but again, the majority of the songs were already released beforehand. You're like, oh my gosh, Chandler, Memphis Mayfire was in your honorable mentions. Is this going to be the album? That album was really close to making it on there. I do think Memphis Mayfire's Remade in Misery is legitimately their best work to date, but that album did not make it on here because again, this album absolutely blew me out of the water. This is like a one-man show. Like the rest of the band left, this one guy stayed in the band, and he pretty much does everything in the band, which I find that so admirable that he just kept going. And again, this album really focuses a lot on mental health, and it's just heavy, it's exciting, some of the best metalcore I've heard in forever, and that's going to go to Aviana Corporation.
Brother. Damn.
Seriously, if you have not listened to this album all the way through, if you love metalcore, you should absolutely give this a shot here, dude. It is like ferociously heavy. The vocals are insane. Joel also, again, the vocals of the band, pretty much does everything in the band. One of the nicest, sweetest human beings I've talked to. I've talked to him on Instagram a few times, and he tells me just how grateful he is for me doing the reaction videos. And I just love the guy, dude. He's so cool, and he's so nice. And this album, I think, really, again, paints a picture of what people go through on a daily basis. Like songs like Rage, Paradox, Oblivion, like all these songs on here are just absolute bangers through and through. Like his screams are insane and the breakdowns are insane. Like this album rocks, dude. This is another band that I found through reaction videos because of Bogdan, aka Hardcore. I would watch his videos and I was like, you know what, I want to jump on the bandwagon and do some reactions to Aviana, and I absolutely love this band, dude. This album is insane. Like again, if you love metalcore and you love heavy metalcore, melodic, anything in between, you're gonna love this album. I guarantee it. Again, this album just rocks, dude. All right, my friends, we are down to my top 5 albums of 2022. I mean, these are the big boys. These are the ones that impacted me the most. So let's go and talk about my number 5 pick of 2022. This is another band that I actually discovered through COVID when I was stuck inside the house. They're a band that just kind of popped up here. Again, I did another podcast, you know, with the singer and vocals of this band. I don't want you all to think because I did like podcasts with these guys that I'm putting them on there because like I talked to them and I'm friends with these guys. Like I loved everybody I've talked to on my podcast, like Hollow Front, Palisades. I love all these guys, but their music is what really is important to me here. I mean, of course they're important as human beings, but their music is of course what I'm going to, you know, judge. And I absolutely love the music they've been putting out. This is a band that I feel like I've put out, again, this is their 3rd album, and I feel like this is their best material today. It's their best sounding album. The vocals, the singing is on another level with this band. It's so impactful. And again, my number 5 pick is going to Armirage and their album Eclipse.
Gosh, dude. Oh, yeah. Going back to that, brother. It's like Timo knew, man. You got to get Chandler moving in that chair.
This album is everything that I love about music, man. This album is not overly complicated. It's a very simple album. Like, there's nothing, they have riffs in there, but they're very simple. They have simple chords, but the thing is about this band is that everything about it just hits emotionally. Armirage is one of the only bands that I could say like that actually makes me feel something every time that I listen to it here. Obviously the other albums on this, on this list make me feel something as well, but there's something about Timo's voice and the way that he's able to kind of sink into your soul and really understand what he's feeling is just absolutely phenomenal. Again, during the podcast, we talked about how when he was younger, he just did not like his younger years. He was just feeling really suicidal. And you can hear the pain that he went through in these lyrics here. And I think this is their best material to date. There are some different things on this album that kind of mix things up. Like, again, their first song, Awakening, has like a rap part to it here. There is the Eclipse trilogy, which is Black Hole, Help Me Out, and Eclipse, which is a really, really cool thing. And so there's different types of varieties on, this album. It doesn't all sound the same in my personal opinion, but the most important thing is that for me, I walked away feeling better about myself as a person. Even though that I struggle with depression and anxiety, I could listen to this album, and again, it makes me feel like that I'm not alone, that somebody understands like what I'm going through. And Armirage does that perfectly here. Again, like, I feel like they're really underrated. So again, if you like what you heard in the clip, or if you look at my other reactions, make sure you check them out here, dude. They're just a super sick band and really, really, really nice guys. So my number 4 pick is an album that I feel like this band, again, doesn't get talked about a lot. They have been in the scene since I was in high school. I kind of fell off them for a little bit here, but their last album and this brand new album have absolutely brought me back into the fold of loving these guys here. And I love the new sound they're going for. Again, they kind of started out as more of like a deathcore type band, but they've kind of slowly progressed more into metalcore, which I feel is way better for their sound and like the riffs that they're playing. Every song on this album is insanely good. Like, it's insanely heavy. The riffs are insane. It's so well balanced. And again, some of the heaviest riffs I've heard in a while, but it just gets you moving. And again, I feel like a lot of people have not been talking about this album. Like, I know reactors have done reactions to the songs off this album, but I feel like nobody is talking about this here. My number 4 spot is going to Upon a Burning Body with their album Fury.
Oh, this is incredible.
What I really like about this album here as well is that I really do feel like this is a step up from any of their other material. Their last album, Southern Hostility, is really, really, really good, but I feel like this one, absolutely, they just found a sound that works best for them here. I also think this is their best lyrics they've ever written. I will say Upon a Burning Body has some cheesy lyrics in some of their older songs, and even on Southern Hostility, there were still a few songs I'm like, okay, it's a little bit cheesy, but overall I still like the album, but it's just a little bit cheesy. This album, though, there are so many uplifting lyrics. There are so many uplifting moments on this album, like talking about how the world can tear you down, don't be a part of it, like just do you, and I think they do a good job of just like expressing what they mean. Like, the lyrics are nothing too crazy on this album, but again, you could tell that they really mean it, like, just live the life that you want no matter what it is. Hopefully we all, make good choices, but live the life that you want to live, and I think this album is great for that here. I was so blown away by this album when I first reacted to it here, because I loved all the singles, like Snake Eyes, A New Responsibility was so sick, and then I listened to it all the way through. It was just the most intense 30 plus minutes of the year, in my personal opinion. So again, really underrated band that's been in the scene forever. So again, this is their best album to date, no question. So again, if you're looking for some ferocious, kind of like Avion with metalcore, definitely check this out, dude. Like, good singing, good screaming, good riffs. You're gonna love it, dude. This album, seriously, super, super sick. All right, here we go. The top 3, boys. Let's do this here. Number 3 is an album that, again, has been around for quite a while now. Again, they are the biggest band to play breakdowns ever. Like, they're the biggest band in the scene, and if they continue to go this route with like this new album, they are going to be like the biggest band, I think, truly ever. It's amazing how fast these guys have blown up, and I was honestly telling a lot of people this, and I said this in my review, like, these guys honestly feel like a modern day Linkin Park. Like, again, for some reason I just imagine like the impact that Linkin Park made back in like the early 2000s, but this band is now making the impact in like 2020 and on, and I just really think that this album is going to change the game in the near future. This album is awesome. It's their best work to date, in my personal opinion. I've noticed that a lot of albums, their third album seems to be their best, and that's the case with this one here. My number 3 pick is going to I Prevail and their album True Power.
Yeah, you're empty, you're hollow. The fake is one that I know. If you think that you're special, well, there's your fucking problem. When it all comes crashing down, there's no one left to sing it now. You're so very, 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 very fine.
I won't lie to you guys here. I really like Trauma, but I felt like there's only a few songs on Trauma that I go back to on a regular basis here. I think I Prevail overall is a very talented band, and they deserve all the success that they have going for them here. But I felt like Trauma was a little bit, not like bad, but there's only a few songs I want to revisit. On this album, just about every song I listen to like on a daily basis here. Like, again, my music doesn't need to be like overly technical for me to like it. I just want something that's catchy and something that'll truly, like, you know, make an impression on me for years to come. And I feel like this album did that. I really do think this is their best material to date. I think, again, it's cool to hear like them do really cool riffs. You know, there's some cool breakdowns in there. Again, these guys are the biggest band who play breakdowns. And again, like, I compare them to like Linkin Park because I have not seen a band make this kind of impact in any sort of scene in forever. And so again, if they keep going, they are going to be one of the biggest bands in the world, man. And again, I honestly am so happy for them here. A lot of people may think this is a cop-out because, again, like, I Prevail is too big, or they're just overly generic, or they don't deserve the spot where they're at. But for me, I loved it, man. I thought this album was super sick, good singing. Eric sounds fantastic. Everyone in the band sounds really, really good. And again, I love everything about it, dude. This album rocks. I'm just going to be the one to say it. I have no shame to say that I like I Prevail. They're super dope. So my number 2 pick is legitimately one of my favorite bands of all time. It's not Wade 4. I was going to put the Strip Sessions on here, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to count that just because, like, it's already songs that we've already heard. It's more of like a compilation type album, so I didn't include that here. But this band that I give the number 2 spot to is, I think, definitely an improvement over their last album. Not that I hated their last album, but I think this one is definitely a step in the right direction here. Again, when people say metalcore kings, I think a lot of people refer to this band, and I think they're just, again, one of the best metalcore bands out there, and this is a great sounding album. It's a heavy album. It's a very emotional album. It is going to go to Fit for a King and their album, The Hell We Create.
I think it was it. I wonder if that was a cool effect, dude. It sounded dumb when I did, but that was a cool effect.
Now, I do think this album is an improvement over The Path. Again, a lot of people did not like The Path. They said it was just not as good as any of their other material. I would have to disagree with that. I actually really do enjoy The Path, but I still think to this day their album Dark Skies is the best. I do think Dark Skies is better than this album here, but this album hit all the right notes for me here when it comes to like the emotion in the music, when it comes to like the sound. This is a great sounding album. Drew Folk worked on this album again, and you can just, it has that, it's so good. Drew Folk is like the best when it comes to producing like these modern day metalcore albums here. Ryan's singing voice is legitimately on another level. Like, it kind of started out with him and Death Grip doing little parts here and there, and then he just evolved in kind of the main vocalist here, and man, he sounds fantastic. His voice, like, you can just tell the passion in his singing. When on the other stuff, I will say, like, his singing was just kind of carry the melody here, but I feel like on this album, they really focused on, like, him feeling the emotion in the singing, and I just absolutely love what Ryan was able to do with this song. I do wish there was more Tuck, because again, I think Tuck has a good voice as well. I think he absolutely sounds fantastic, but overall, man, this is one of the best Fit for a King albums here, and definitely one of the best metalcore albums of 2022. Fit for a King has definitely gotten a lot more popular since Dark Sky, so I feel like a lot of people know who they are, so for me saying, like, no, go check them out, I feel like a lot of people have already checked this album out here, but again, this album is right there with Dark Skies for me here. I think this album was that good, and yeah, man, it's just heavy. It's a good boy. All right, my friends, so my number 1 album of 2022. It is actually not considered a metal album. I say this more of like a rock pop type album here, and I'm pretty sure y'all know what it is for me just saying that here, but I gotta explain why it's my number one. This album is so good. I mean, their last album, of course, was an absolute banger of a hit through and through, and there's a lot of hype for this next album, and there were a lot of people who have said that this album definitely did not match their last album. For me, it definitely got really close. I do prefer their last album, where I like them both about the same, I would say. But again, I absolutely love this band. Again, I've loved this band since they've been putting out their metalcore music. I've been a fan of these guys forever, and I'm so happy they're getting the success that they deserve. My number one favorite album of 2022 goes to Dayseeker and their album Dark Sun.
I feel like I'm like watching a movie right now, dude.
To me, there's just no better album this year, man. I really do think the songwriting on this album is impeccable. Like, I think it's absolutely insane. Like, when I listen to music, I like to really imagine myself just being in the moment of what they're talking about. And there's a few songs on here that I could absolutely see what was going on, and it just made me so emotional what Rory was going through. This album is dedicated mainly to his father, and his father passing away while they were writing this album. There are some other songs on there as well, kind of like, you know, heartbreak issues. Rory made a Twitter post saying all these songs are about the same girl. So there are some songs about, like, you know, people, you know, breaking your heart and those types of things. There's also a song that's dedicated, you know, to his daughter Hazel, which is absolutely my favorite song on the album. But this album has so many emotions on there that I think everybody can relate to. Obviously, you know, with his father passing, you know, death is a part of life. No matter how we want to justify it, we're all going to pass on eventually. And obviously death is not an easy thing to overcome, especially when it's someone that you truly care about. You know, we're all going to go through a relationship issues, whether it's someone you like, you know, someone you love breaking your heart, or something happens in your family. Like, we're all going to go through that here. And then most of us do have children, and so, like, being on the road, being away from them here, missing that time of them growing up can be really difficult. And so I thought this album painted a perfect picture of all the things that we struggle with in life. But again, if we turn that negative into a positive, we can always try to do the best that we can. And that's all that we can ever do in this life, is do the best that we can. And this album, Dark Sun, painted that picture for me here, going like, you know what? I'm not perfect, but again, I can keep trying each day to be a better person. So again, those are my top 10 albums of 2022. Again, for me personally, there was a lot of good music that came out this year. But again, I really feel like these top 10 albums personally impacted me to make me want to be a better person. You know, depression and anxiety is really hard to deal with. And again, I feel like music has always been kind of that backup for me here to really just keep pushing, to realize that I'm not alone and I don't have to be afraid to try new things in my life here. And 2023 is going to be, I think, a really big year for me here. I guess the real question would be, what's next for Chandler Burton Entertainment, or what's next for me personally, Chandler Burton? I'm doing a lot next year. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm really excited for, you know, really nervous about. But again, I feel like if I don't take certain steps in my life, I can't grow anywhere. So the biggest thing that I'm going to be doing here is that I'm going to be moving from Washington State, where I live right now. I'm going to be flying all the way across the country to live in the beautiful state of Florida. So that way that could be closer to my girlfriend. We do plan on getting married next year. That's not a surprise or anything. She does know that, because again, we're all a long distance relationship. But I do plan on asking her to marry me in 2023. Really excited about that. Really nervous. Again, she knows about all this. So again, this is not like a huge surprise. She watches going like, what? You are? But we talked about this already. So that's probably the biggest thing that I'm going to be doing next year, is I'm going to be moving from my house here to a new place down in Florida to be closer with her and to start our new life together. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also going to be doing another song with Micah Eris. Again, if you guys listen to What Have I Become, that's on my YouTube channel. We had a great time doing that song. We have a new song coming out early next year called Defiler. Y'all want to hear a little tease? All right, I'll give you a tease. Okay, here you go. So that song is dropping sometime January or February. We do not know when it's going to be dropping yet, but it will be dropping sometime very, very soon. That's just a little glimpse of the song. The song is super heavy. It's just very melodic. I think it's definitely one of Micah's best songs that he's done, and I'm honored to be a part of it here. There is going to be a music video for it as well. We also have one more thing coming out as well. I can't talk about that quite yet, but there is going to be another music video involved with it. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really cool experience here. And then one thing I do want to improve on is I do want to bring back thoughts on walks. It's just really hard for me to hold the camera and like film it, and it just feels awkward when I film it. And so maybe I gotta get like a selfie stick or something like that here. But again, a lot of people really like thoughts on walks, and I actually do miss doing them here. So I'm gonna try my best to be better at doing thoughts on walks. I go walking every day. It's just sometimes I just don't feel like filming myself like out in public because I don't like when people really look at me. That's kind of a weird thing about me, but I am going to try to bring that back hopefully sometime next year. But again, so many big things are happening in 2023. And again, the YouTube channel, Chandler Burton Entertainment, is not going anywhere. I really do hope and pray that this YouTube channel continues to grow, and that it continues to be a safe place for everybody to come find new music, learn about mental health or talk about their problems. I really hope this channel continues to grow for that reason, because again, I truly consider you all just a big, massive heavy metal family. You guys are just absolutely incredible. All right, my friends. So again, that concludes my Chandler Burton Entertainment end of the year video and my top 10 albums of 2022. I would love to know your top 10 albums of 2022 down below in the comments here. If you choose to comment, I will ask everybody to be respectful. Again, there's going to be music that impacted you guys that maybe didn't impact me so much here, and vice versa. And so for those wanting to comment, please be respectful for everybody who wants to leave a comment here. Have a nice conversation, back and forth. I don't like seeing any negativity when it comes to music, because at the end of the day, music is supposed to help every single one of us. And so again, leave your thoughts down below, your favorite albums, your thoughts on the video here. And again, I want to thank you all so much for your ongoing support here over the past almost 2 years at Chandler Burton Entertainment. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to you guys here. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much, and much love to every single one of you guys.